What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Duel, back here with another Diablo 4 video, and today I wanted to go over how you can craft in the cube. Now, what if I told you that you can take one of these legendary items, or sorry, a normal item rather, and make it into a legendary item? Well, you can do exactly that with the cube. Now, how do you do that? Well, let's just start right away with the cube. The cube, the Horadric Cube. First of all, let's talk about how to get it. So, if you want to get the cube, the first things first is you need to complete the Vessel of Hatred campaign. If you've already done that, great. You're already caught up. The cube will show up here if you've done the campaign. Over here in Temis. And Temis is over here in the, if you've done the DLC, it'll be down here in the bottom left at Scovos. It's only here, so you might as well just set your home base to here. Just a little tidbit before we get started. But without further ado, let's just hop right into it. So let's just say you have the cube now. You've got everything you need. You need some consumables here, and these are all your different prisms that you can use to craft gear with. So let's go back over here. So we'll go over the prisms right quick. So starting off, we got the Resourceful Prism. This is mainly meant for resource affixes. You've got your Adept Tuning Prisms, which is for skill and core stat affixes. You've got your Entropic Tuning Prism, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But basically, you can use it to help transfigure your items. Basically, after you've done tempering and masterworking and putting the aspect that you want on your gear, you would slap this on there and you can transfigure it. So, with the caveat of being that if you use this when you transfigure your item, you have a 100% chance of making your item, like, basically it's locked in. You can't do anything to it. You can't change your masterworking on it. Can't change your tempering, your aspect. It's locked. It's locked forever. The only thing you can change is gems on it. So keep that in mind when you're transfiguring stuff. You really don't want to spend these unless you've got a really good piece of gear that you're done crafting on completely and you want to lock it in to get that transfiguration bonus, and then you're done touching it. So moving on to the Protector Tuning Prism, defensive affixes. You've got your aggressive, offensive affixes. And then you've got your mobility, and then you have chromatic. So let's get started here. So you can basically craft on any item essentially, from even like legendary, regular. You got your blues and your yellows. So really, what you want to try to do is you want to set up like a loot filter where, and I can just show you an example of my loot filter. So I kind of stole this from Raxantarax. Sorry, I can't speak today. He made a good video going over how the loot filter works, but if you played Last Epoch, a different ARPG, then you'll know that the loot filter is essentially the exact same. I'm not going to go over to the specifics of the loot filter right now, just trying to show you like what sort of things you should be looking for when you're trying to craft. So like a good example is like whites to cube. So basically what this means is you would take this and any item types that I have here, like for example, I'm trying to get Gorge Devastating Grips. These are gloves. You can take these and throw these in the cube, and you can turn any normal white, and you can upgrade it to a unique. So that's what that loot filter is there for. So, but you have other rules here. So, like mainly one of the things that I have currently on here is the checking for not just all greater affixes, but I have specific GAs, and they turn purple. And then I have the item type, rarity match, common, magic, and rare. And the reason that is you can't craft on legendaries, meaning you can transfigure and stuff, but you can't add or remove affixes. And if you're trying to like hunt for a specific piece of gear, then you really want to stick to common, magic, or rare, which is the white, blue, and yellow. So keep that in mind. I've also got the affixes here that I want for my gear. And then underneath I have the greater affixes that I'm also hunting for. So in theory, if I have this rule set up correctly, and it has at least one of these greater affixes on there, one of these affixes, I'm assuming this here means that it also has to be a greater affix. Then when I see it drop, it'll turn purple, and then I can go to the cube and start crafting. So sorry about that little loot filter spiel, but I wanted to get through that so you kind of understand my thinking here when it comes to the cube. So anyway, let's say I've got a couple items in here. Let's say I got this short sword, And in most cases, you'll want a item that has a greater affix on it. If you don't know what a greater affix is, that's totally fine. It's basically these items that have these stars on them. And basically it means an affix that has over the outside of the range of a normal roll. So like if you look at this cycle blitz ring here that I have saved here because I'm going to craft on it, you can see that strength is like 102. And then you can see the window there, 100 to 121. If it were to be a greater affix, it would be like 131, right? So you can see here, max life, crit strike damage. They're obviously greater affixes. This just means that they're outside of the normal range of, on the higher side, not the lower. They're on the higher side. So keep that in mind, of your normal affix rolls. So that's what the stars mean. That just means they have a greater affix. So you really want to be searching for the greater affix drops because those are the ones, you know, it takes a little bit more RNG to get, and but these are the ones that you want to craft on. So, but for the purpose of this video, we're just going to show you how this kind of works when you have just a normal white item starting with nothing on it. You can see there's no affixes on here. And then we're going to continue on by just going through what you can do with this. So immediately, not a ton of options here. We're going to start with the affixes, and I'll explain this other stuff down here at the bottom of the rune crafting. So anyway, let's say, okay, we have our white item, right? We have the piece of gear that we want to craft on, and you've got your prisms, and you have kind of an idea like, oh, okay, well, maybe I want resourceful. So first things first, you add an affix. So if you just click add affix just to start, and then I transmute this, it's going to say, hey, I'm going to bind it to your account. It's untradeable. Fine, whatever. Not a big deal. Accept. But then also, it's going to just add a random affix. So we got a damage over time multiplier. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to add a bunch more affixes. So now we have 2, and you can see it's turned blue. I didn't mean to make that rhyme, but just how it happened. Transmute it again. Now we've got a yellow with 3 affixes. You transmute it again. In normal cases, this would be considered a legendary, but the one thing I will say before you upgrade to a legendary, once you upgrade to a legendary, you cannot add or remove any affixes. You can do a reroll. You can do the rerolls here, the chaotic and the focus, and I'll explain those here in just a little bit. But just keep that in mind when you're doing this. If you're trying to craft on one of your items like remove or add affixes, do not upgrade to a legendary until you're happy with what you've got. At least have 3 out of the 4 affixes that you want, because if you at least have that, then you could take that last affix down to the enchanter, which is down here, and you can, you know, throw her in here and enchant the weapon and say, okay, I want to roll one of these. But you'll really just want to save that when you're done crafting completely. Do not upgrade to a legendary. So keep that in mind. You wouldn't be able to add or remove any affixes. So the other thing to keep in mind is that let's say I have another affix here. I am going to just grab this these pair of boots here. You can see it's a GA pair of boots. So one thing that you want to do is when you're crafting for some reason I can't enchant these boots, and that's okay. But let's say I had a GA on one of these items here. If I were to say, let's say, I mean, this is a piece of junk item anyway, so let's say that my strength was a GA. If I enchant this, hit accept, and then I hit no change, the GA, in this case it's not a GA, but if it was a GA, this is locked in now. So if I go and take this ring over to the cube, and I say just remove affixes, let's say it was a yellow, and I went here and removed all these affixes, I would not be able to remove the strength affix. It is officially locked in. So I can remove all these affixes, all these last 3, maximum life, all damage, and poison, and then keep the strength affix. So that's why you're probably wondering, like, why would you want to do that? Well, mainly is, let's say I got a ring that had a strength GA, and I do not want to lose the greater affix, because you can remove your affix, and you can re-roll your affix. That's a greater affix. And you don't want to do that, because once you get rid of your greater affix, then what's the point of the drop, right? So really you want to lock in your greater affixes, and by enchanting them first, just doing the no change enchantment, and then you can come in here and craft on it. So that is why, going back to the spiel at the beginning with the loop filter, you want to have your specific GAs, and then again, this is, I haven't really tested this yet, but assuming this is set up correctly, I only want these 3 items. And of course, you can also do different loop filters where you have these are like all for like legendary drops. Like I'm only looking for 4 affixes, but they must have 3 out of the 4 that I can take the last affix and enchant it. But for the purposes of just using the cube, if I'm just hunting for gear that has specific greater affix on it, this is what this filter is for. So that's why I'm like, oh, legendary isn't selected, because you can't add or remove any affixes. So I just wanted to bring that home. Hopefully you're still with me here and that makes sense. So back to our sword here. We haven't upgraded it to a legendary. I'm going to move it over here so you can see it better. These are the affixes that we have on it. So let's say I don't like what I have. One thing we can do, we can come back over here to the cube. Let's say there is an affix on here that we do like, actually. We're going to say physical damage multiplier. So we're going to put this in action. Come over here to enchant the item. Physical damage multiplier. Let's keep that guy on there. So enchant it. No change. And now that guy is locked in. And we'll come back over here to the cube. Again, pretend it's a GA. I don't have a GA item to test this with, at least not right now, but that's fine. It's not a big deal. But you can see here it's got the blue circle on it. And don't worry, it'll still have a star on it if it's a GA. Your item will. So if I come in here now and I say remove affix, it's going to put in the materials here that you need to remove the affix, remove. And then you can see we've got the 2 left. Remove it and remove it. So bam. You can see we got the last physical damage multiplier on here. It did not get removed first. So this is what we can do now. So now we come over here to your consumables, and let's say we want to add resource to it. So add affix, and you can just do it and it'll auto put in your materials, but just in case, add affix. You can see if you just click add affix, it's going to add this stuff in here, and it's going to add a random affix. However, if I select resource, it's going to guarantee a resource affix that I can use. The only thing that I haven't been able to determine is what affixes are thrown onto your items when you're using the cube. So hopefully maybe this will be something that they add in the future. At least I might be dumb and I just don't see it, but I don't see a way to see the pool of affixes that you can pull from. So you just kind of have to, you know, have an understanding of what you're looking for when it comes to specific affixes. And if you don't, that's fine too. You can just come in here and just retransmute until you get what you want. So we've got a lucky hit chance to restore primary resource. That's actually pretty good. So we're done with that. We're going to keep the add affixes on here because we need to add more. Let's add an offensive one. So we got a resource, and then we'll transmute it. And now we've got critical strike damage. This is actually pretty good. This actually might be a weapon that I could use. Let's actually see here. I unironically did not mean to do that, but give me 1 second. I'm trying to remember which the last stat that I need. So I need strength maximum life. Or sorry, I don't need that. I need strength maximum. No, I guess I do need maximum life. So, oh, sorry. No, I was reading the wrong weapon. Crit strike damage, physical damage, lucky hit chance to restore primary resource, and strength. So what are we missing here? We need strength. So for strength, you would need the skill and core stat affix. So we're going to remove this guy because we don't want to retransmute it. We're going to do this one to target. So transmute it here. Oh, look at that. We got strength. And now officially I have an item that I can use here. Now, this is not a GA, but you can see the idea here. Let's pretend the physical damage was a GA. This is what you would do, right? This is how you would lock it in. So, this is actually, it's so funny that I just ended up making an item that I could potentially use. But, I mean, it's not the greatest weapon. This is just, you know, the affixes that I was looking for. It just so happened to work out that way. Super weird, but whatever, it is what it is. So, you kind of get the idea here. And now I'm going to throw that guy to the side. And let's see here. I'm going to see if I have an actual GA that I can play with just for a better example. But here we go. Yeah, perfect. I have plenty of items in here. Let's grab this old wrapper here, or old reaper. I can't read apparently, and that's fine. So come over here. We got 2 GAs here. So you're like, oh, well, how can I lock in 2 GAs? Well, you can't. You're going to have to pick the one that you want. So in my case, I want to keep the physical damage. Once again, come over here, physical damage. I'm going to enchant it. No change. It's locked in now. See, it's got the blue, but the 2 stars are still up there at the top. Come over here to the cube. Sorry, I didn't mean to go to the blacksmith. Force a habit. And then you can, so now I can do what I did earlier, remove affixes and add. So, that's essentially how you do it. The other thing to note is that, you can do the same thing with a focused reroll and a removing affix using the prisms. So like, let's see here, what do we got? We got strength, physical damage, max life. Let's do the Adept's Tuning Prism. So let's say, and this is going to re-roll the strength, the core stat, and the skill affix. So if I do this and I do a focus re-roll, it's going to re-roll strength. Or not. It won't let me do it. It cannot change, the combination cannot change the item affix. So usually what that means is that I have 2 of the same affix and I can't decide between the 2. At least my understanding of that. So let's pick something else. So we got damage. Let's try to, let's see, what do we got here? Max life. Let's do defensive. Let's see if it'll let me reroll a defensive. It did let me reroll the defensive. It was a max life, and now it's life on hit. Let's say we don't like life on hit. And now we got max life again, transmuted again, life on hit. You get the idea. So you kind of understand. It looks like those are the only 2 that you can get. Life on hit, and then max life. So you get the idea as you're like playing around and trying to understand like what you're trying to craft onto your gear. You'll memorize pretty quickly what affixes you need for what tuning prisms. Now also keep in mind when you first starting out, you're not going to have all these prisms just at your disposal. You're going to have to play the game as you level up. I would say in the early game, probably don't craft. I mean, there's just no point because until you hit level 70, you're just going to see gear raining from the sky. In fact, I would probably argue probably don't even craft until you get to like Torment 5 or 6. I mean, unless you just absolutely need certain pieces of gear with certain affixes and you have the prisms, then maybe that's the time. But in my opinion, that's usually around the time I started crafting, was around that time, and where I had like enough prisms that I could safely craft my gear on. The other thing you can do, and just remove this stuff entirely, is take 3 of the same uniques. And let's see if I can, do I have a unique? Oh, perfect. We have 3 Rings of the Ravenous. So you can take 3 unique items, and let's say you don't like the rolls on any of these. I don't even know. I'm not using these rings, but let's say that I don't like these. You can put 3 in here, and it'll say recycle uniques, transmute it into 1. So that's something else to keep in mind. So if you have a certain unique item, just make sure you go in your loot filter and just make sure that any, you know, like the gloves that I want is a specific unique. It's a Gorge Devastating, how do you spell that? Gorge Devastating Grips. Maybe it's just easier to search for grips. Yeah, there we go. And just, I highlighted pink. So any of those drop, do not salvage them. Save them for the cube so you can come over here and, you know, like I just did a minute ago, retransmute into a different unique that might have a better set of rules. Now, keep in mind, you can't do anything with uniques other than transfigure them. You can't add or remove any affixes. Maybe they'll fix that in a future patch, but as of Season 13, that is not an option. So that's, let me see, is there anything else? I mean, there's Chaotic Reroll. It just changes another affix to another category. Then you can use a tuning prism to determine that category. And then I already showed you how the focus reroll works. And then I just showed you the unique thing. So the other thing you can do is you can reroll your charms. So let's say you don't like the roll on your this Fear of Seshron's Fury. You can see here I have resistance to all elements and potion healing. If I go reroll set charm, it's going to put in the materials. I don't have a lot, so one thing to note is that if you don't have any of this material, I had to find this out. You need to start salvaging your charms. I was actually low on gold, so I ended up selling a lot of my charms to make back some money so I could actually craft. So keep that in mind as well. You'll have to pick and choose between whether you want to sell your charms or salvage them, so you get crafting materials or gold. So just decide what you're going to do. But you can transmute this. Now, warning, it will, when it does roll the stats on them, on this charm, it also rolls the actual charm. Like the entire charm just changed, right? So now I'm out, so I can't reroll anymore. I'd have to go salvage more, but I was able to show you how that works. And then the other thing you can do is you can take 3, let's say you have a bunch of these set charms, because they're going to take up your space real quick. You can take 3 of these, and you can just do a 3-to-1 transmutation and just get a random one. Let's say you're looking for a certain set charm. This would be the area to do it. I would say rerolling the set charm for what you're looking for specifically is better to just do the reroll set charm instead of the 3-to-1 transmutation, but that's also good to know. So the other thing you can do is you can craft runes. And so basically the way that it works is you need to have they literally tells you what you need to do here, but in my opinion, it's very expensive. I have yet to do this in all my time playing, and give you some context, I made 3 characters that have made it to at least Tournament 10, and now I am on my 3rd character, obviously with my Whirlwind Barb, and I have yet to do any of this sort of rune crafting. And the reason that is because the legendary runes are just super rare still, in my opinion, and it's just not worth crafting. So I've yet to actually make these, but the reason why you would want to make runes in the first place would be due to the fact that you want to come down here to the jeweler, and you can actually craft Mythic Uniques, which are the best in slot, well, could be a best in slot for your build. And if you right click on the items, it tells you what runes you need to craft. So if you don't have the runes that you need here, there's a chance that you can craft what you need over here at the cube. Basically get the runes that you need. And then obviously, like Yule was one I didn't have. I'd come down here and it'll tell you, what runes you need. So, and then lastly, before I wrap things up here, and this might not be something that you're aware of, but if you go to your dungeon keys, and if you have 5 of the, I don't have 5 here, but if you have 5 of the greater tribute of armaments, you will generate a mythic tribute of armaments. So basically, this is a Undercity key that you can use to run to get Mythic Uniques. So keep that in mind. Do not throw these away. Don't salvage them, I guess, unless you really want to. But you can take 5 yellows and convert them into a legendary. And remind you, it has to be the greater tribute of armaments to get the mythic. You can't just take any 5 and make a mythic. It has to be the armaments one. It is what it is. And then the other thing you can do is you can combine 5 of your Nightmare Dungeon sigils, and you can convert that into a escalation sigil. So if you want to run an escalation dungeon, and if you don't know what an escalation dungeon is, just to recap, it's basically 3 dungeons in one, and you run it and you can fight the boss at the end of that dungeon. So just keep that in mind if you're trying to conserve space in your inventory and you have like 1,000,000 keys and you don't really want to salvage. You can condense them in here by doing the amalgamation, as I just showed just a minute ago. So let's see here. Did I cover everything? We did all the affixes. We did the unique transmutation. We did 3-to-1 recycle, upgrade unique. Oh yeah, the transfiguration. So I briefly talked about that on earlier. But basically, when you transfigure an item, I'm just gonna throw that unique in here. It's gonna just apply random stats to your gear. And it could be something completely awesome, or it could be something really dumb. So I'm going to show you how that works here. So transfigure the item, and you need a volatile primordial dust. This stuff is pretty rare. And the other thing you can do is you can come in here, and you can add this in here, and you can add an extra aspect to your amulet. But this is not an amulet, so it's not going to work. However, you have these entropic tuning prisms, and you can use to influence the outcomes of your Horadric Cube transfiguration. So we're going to slap this on here, and we're going to see what this does here. So, transmute. Well, first off, let me look at it. See, you can see what it looks like now, and then transmute it. And now you can see it says transfigured on it, and at the bottom you can see what it transfigured and it added 8% resistance to all elements on top of everything else that we have on this piece of gear. So that, I mean, that's pretty lame in my opinion. Usually the thing that I like the most is like when it adds an extra greater affix, or when it will basically give you like a quality, and if it gives you like it's a certain roll, right? Like a certain, I think it's like, I don't remember what the max quality is. It might be like 50 or something like that. But basically you want max quality because then your gear is like super strong and your stats go super high, right? So so that's how Transfiguration works. Again, don't do Transfiguration unless you're completely happy with your item. You've tempered, you've masterworked, and you've done everything. You've got the max roll on your aspect, and you've got your item socketed if it's socketable. That would be the time that you want to do Transfiguration. So I think that's pretty much everything that you can do with the cube as far as I know. Hopefully that makes sense to you. I have a different video kind of going over how tempering and masterworking works. So if you want to check that video out, I'll have that video out. It's on my channel. You can go get it right now. But other than that, I think that's going to wrap it up there. Let me know if you made it this far in the video. If you did, let me know if I missed anything. Leave a comment. Feel free to like and subscribe. You're not obligated to, but it does help out the channel a lot. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.